This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt. Substituting tonight, Kate Snow.
Good evening. The president, the first lady, and their daughter Sasha arrived in Florida today for a quick trip, just one night in the Gulf. The White House late today releasing a photo showing a smiling president frolicking in the waves with his daughter. But on this day, the symbolism of spending time down south, where the oil spill has done so much damage, was competing with an issue from way up north here in New York. NBC's Mike Vaquera is traveling with the president tonight. He joins us now from Panama City Beach in Florida. Mike, good evening.
Good evening, Kate. The first family, minus Malia, who is still away at camp, came to Florida's Panhandle in part to show tourists and Americans at large that it's safe to come back to the coast. But as the president's comments last night, in the aftermath of those comments, he and his aides have been dealing with this controversial support for building that mosque near Ground Zero. Even as the first couple and daughter Sasha arrived this morning on the Gulf Coast for a weekend getaway, it is Mr. Obama's support last night for the construction of a mosque close to New York's Ground Zero that has proven controversial.
I believe that Muslims have the right to practice their religion as everyone else in this country. That includes the right to build a place of worship in a community center on private property in Lower Manhattan in accordance with local laws and ordinances.
His remarks at a White House dinner honoring the start of the Muslim holy month of Ramadan came after White House aides said the president would not weigh in on the debate, calling it a local matter. Conservatives, as well as some victims' families, condemn the president's support.
It's irresponsible and morally wrong and insensitive to do it, and that's the issue the president never addressed.
Today in Florida, the president spoke out again, appearing to backtrack on his support for the mosque, saying, "I was not commenting and I will not comment on the wisdom of making the decision to put a mosque there. I was commenting very specifically on the right people have that dates back to our founding." Meanwhile, the Obama's visit along the Gulf Coast comes with a message for beleaguered residents of the region.
Oil is no longer flowing into the Gulf. It has not been flowing for a month. And I'm here to tell you that our job is not finished, and we are not going anywhere until it is.
Today's visit is as much about pictures as it is about policy. The Obamas are expected to set an example for reluctant tourists visiting Gulf hotels and restaurants. Early today, the president said he would take a dip tomorrow.
You know, I'm definitely going to go swimming, but we're not going to let the press pool come because you guys all take a picture of me without my shirt on.
But the swim apparently couldn't wait. Late today, the White House released this picture of Mr. Obama and daughter Sasha. And Kate, late today, the president's spokesman put out a statement emphasizing that the president is not backing off his statement about the mosque, simply saying that the government does not have a right to tell any faith where they can build a house of worship. Kate?
Mike Vaquera in Florida, thank you. And as Mike just reported, President Obama spoke again today about that plan to build an Islamic center in the shadow of Ground Zero, and his comments have certainly drawn fire. CNBC's chief Washington correspondent John Harwood joins us now. John, good evening.
Good evening, Kate.
The White House had said that he wouldn't wade into this. He wouldn't get involved in a local issue, they called it, but he's certainly involved now. Why do you think he made these comments last night?
Well, I talked to a senior White House official today who said the president had not intended to speak on whether the mosque should be put in that location, but rather mark the right of the church or the right of the faith of Islam to build a mosque if they could get local approval. That process is ongoing, and the start of the Ramadan holy month was one that gave the president an occasion to point that out.
The White House said today, as Mike said, that the president wasn't trying to walk his comments back, but it sure seemed like they were doing some damage control. Are they worried, do you think, that this becomes a huge political issue, especially in an election year?
Well, this official I talked to said this is mostly noise in August. Certainly there's no political upside for the president in this. And I did talk to a couple of Republican pollsters who noted that even though Republican leaders in the Congress are exploiting this, put out a statement today criticizing the president, this is not likely to have a major impact on the election. They say what we need to focus on are jobs and the economy.